Dragon egg in America, plumbing in ancient Rome, human remains in China that are over 1 million years old, a new possible reason for the extinction of dinosaurs. What does all this have in common, you may ask? It is that you can learn more about it in this video if you watch it to the end. Hi friend, you're on the KirTop channel. Rock paintings 2,700 years old. On the site of ancient Nineveh, which was once the capital of the Assyrian Empire, archaeologists have discovered mysterious rock paintings. Nineveh was surrounded by a strong 12-kilometer wall, in which there were 15 gates. The most interesting thing is that each gate had its own name. So, during the reconstruction of one of the gates called Mashki, that was the name of one of the 15 Assyrian gods, archaeologists delved into several cultural layers and found 12 marble slabs with ancient bas-reliefs there. If not for the terrorist group Islamic State, which destroyed this gate in 2016, then archaeologists would now have much less work, and the preservation of ancient architecture would be much better. It is terrible to realize that in our days, humanity continues to destroy our history. Once I already talked about Buddha statues in Afghanistan, which were also destroyed by terrorists. The bas-reliefs belong to the era of the Assyrian king Sennacherib, who ruled from 705 to 681 BC. Most likely, the bas-reliefs decorated the palace of Sennacherib, and later the grandson of the king used them to build the gate. The bas-reliefs that remained on the surface were completely destroyed and the drawings on them disappeared, and those slabs that archaeologists dug up were quite well preserved. The Assyrian Empire at one time was very powerful and militant. They participated in many battles. What kind of battle is captured on the bas-reliefs, scientists have yet to study. Archaeologists plan to fully restore the Gate of God by the end of next year. It has a budget of more than $1 million and is supported by experts from the University of Mosul and the University of Pennsylvania in collaboration with the International Conflict Heritage Alliance. And now we will go from Iraq, together with archaeologists, to China, where we will see a find that fills an evolutionary gap. Earliest gibbon fossil. In southwest China's Yunnan province, archaeologists have found a fossil of a small monkey that pushes back the fossil record of gibbons by 7 to 8 million years. And I constantly talk about this. Literally one find of archaeologists can change a lot. Now Chinese and American archaeologists have the opportunity to fill an evolutionary gap in the history of small apes in East Asia. The fossil belongs to Yuanmopithecus shaoyan. This family of monkeys includes 20 gibbon species found in tropical and subtropical Asia. Archaeologists have previously managed to find only fragments of teeth or jaws of ancient animals. The oldest previously discovered fossilized remains of this gibbon are no more than 2 million years old, and you can already guess, the last find is very valuable. Archaeologist G discovered the facial bone of an infant, Yuanmopithecus shaoyan, 2 years old or younger. Fragments of the jaw were compared with the skulls of living gibbons, and this confirmed the authenticity of the find. After analyzing the teeth, scientists came to the conclusion that the 2-year-old ancient gibbon was approximately the size and weight of living adults, about 6 kilograms. Genetic studies indicate that the Hylobathids diverged from the line leading to great apes and humans about 17-22 million years ago. But there is still a gap of 10 million years that needs to be filled with additional discoveries in the evolutionary history of the Hylobathids, especially the gap between 2 and 6 million years ago, which was a critical period for the transition of ancient primates to modern primates. The study was published in the International Anthropological Journal of Human Evolution. In parallel with the ancient gibbons, Chinese scientists decided to re-examine dinosaur egg fossils and came to a serious conclusion. New possible reason for the extinction of dinosaurs. Scientists will never stop searching for the cause of the death of the ancient giants. The ancient world has always been associated with dinosaurs. These were the most mysterious creatures on our planet, and the extinction of such giant creatures is constantly of interest in the scientific community. Chinese scientists analyzed dinosaur egg fossils and found a steady decline in dinosaur diversity during the Cretaceous. This decline weakened the dinosaurs' ability to adapt to the ecological shocks caused by major natural disasters. The dinosaur population was directly dependent on the success of hatching from eggs. Looking ahead, I'll say in simple terms, if nothing had interfered with dinosaur eggs, then most likely dinosaurs would have survived to this day. There are two main theories for the extinction of giants: a huge asteroid and volcanic eruption in the Deccan Traps in India. In China, quite a lot of fossilized remains of dinosaurs and most importantly eggs have been discovered. Here, according to them, scientists are trying to find out the mass cause of extinction. After analyzing more than 1,000 samples of eggs and eggshells and fossilized bones, scientists determined that the massive population decline began 72 million years ago, while the last dinosaur died out 66 million years ago. This suggests that dinosaurs began to die out gradually long before their complete extinction. This is confirmed by fossils found in North America. According to studies there, it was also possible to determine that the population began to decline around the same period as in China. If everything has become more or less clear with dinosaurs, now I will tell you about the oldest carrier for children. 10,000-year-old baby carrier. When they try to prove to you in advertising that a baby carrier is the latest invention of mankind and you're obliged to buy it right now, then always remember this video. 5 years ago, in the Italian cave of Armaveron, archaeologists discovered the tomb of a baby, which is approximately 10,000 years old. For a long time, researchers from the University of Montreal studied the grave and the remains of a 2-month-old girl buried there. They concluded that the child was buried wearing a sling scarf adorned with beads and shells. The fabrics were practically not preserved, but even according to the grains that scientists managed to collect, they determined what kind of object it was. Although the child was only a couple of months old, the carrier had already become very dear to her. Most likely, the parents used the sling during their lifetime and not only as grave goods. As we know, people often put in the grave the most expensive and closest things that belonged to a person during his lifetime. That it was a sling and not a burial blanket is confirmed by the posture of the buried child. It can be seen that she was put in a grave one might turn her away from the heart. Richly decorated for that time, the sling indicates how dear the child was to her parents and how much they loved her. The scientists examined the shells and beads and found that they were very worn, which means that they were used long before the sling was made. Most likely they were jewelry that was inherited from grandparents. Perhaps these decorations were sewn to the sling as a talisman, and as we can now see, the amulet did not help the child. From Italy, we will move to explore the ancient settlements in Scotland. Ancient settlement in Scotland. One of the largest ancient settlements was discovered in Scotland in May this year. Atop Tappanot in Aberdeenshire, university archaeologists have found evidence that up to 4,000 people lived on the site between 1,700 and 1,400 years ago. Archaeologists conducted a series of studies using radiocarbon dating, drones, and laser technology, which showed that in ancient times they were building similar to houses. The Picts dominated part of Scotland for a long time, and the first mention of them was in late Roman writings as a problematic group of people. There are two main theories about the origin of the Picts. According to the first, the Picts are a Celtic tribe that separated early from the main mass of relatives. Therefore, they are so different from the same Gauls or Breton neighbors. According to the second, less popular, the Picts are the autochthonous population of Britain who came here in the early Bronze Age. In any case, scientists and historians know very little about the Picts in detail. Therefore, any find and mention of them is the most valuable information. The last found mention of them was 1,100 years ago. Archaeologists plan to better explore this site in the future in order to collect more valuable information. The next find is also from Scotland. The oldest cloth in Scotland. To be honest, the fabric from the Neolithic period practically doesn't survive. The study of textiles by scientists take place on the basis of prints on the ground or clay. So it was in this case. When in Ness of Brodgar in Orkney, Scotland, an imprint was found that a cloth left when its pot was pressed against wet clay 5,000 years ago. Presumably, this fabric was used as a pottery garment during the manufacture of the pot. This is indicated by imprints inside the vessel. During the study of this object, archaeologists used the most modern methods of studying antiquities. The technique is called reflection transformation imaging, RTI, which combines multiple photographs of an object to create a highly detailed image that can reveal surface details not seen by normal viewing. The Ness of Brodgar team has been studying this ancient monumental complex of Neolithic buildings for 10 years. From Scotland, we will travel to South America to ride the Mayan train. Archaeological finds on the Maya train route. Discoveries on the Mayan train route do not stop. Authorities are building a Mayan tourist train that will travel through jungles and caves. During construction, archaeologists have already discovered many ancient buildings, artifacts, and objects from the Mayan era. And the most interesting thing is that tourists will now have the opportunity to observe the ancient Mayan world during their trip, and perhaps someone will be able to see something new there that has not been previously discovered by archaeologists and scientists. Two new archaeological discoveries have caused a lot of talk among archaeologists around the world. On the route along which the Mayan train will pass, a unique vessel and a network of interesting caves were discovered. It is still not known for sure whether the vessel was used for rituals, sacrifices, or for general use. It is very likely that these caves were used before the Spanish colonization of the region. Some objects are very reminiscent in style to the ones which were previously discovered many kilometers from this place. From the ancient Maya, we move on to the very ancient Chinese. Origin of Chinese civilization. Many people know that the Chinese civilization is considered one of the oldest that has survived to this day. But Chinese scientists are trying to go even deeper in their studies of antiquity, and for this, there are old prerequisites. Findings in the form of ancient skulls found on the territory of China help in studying the origin of Chinese civilization. One of these was the Yangtzean man, whose skull is over 1 million years old. The fossil is the third ancient human skull in the region, and it is the third skull of the Yangtzean man. The skull was found in Xi'an, Hubei province in central China, and belongs to Homo erectus. Even the dirt in which the skull was found has research value. It is already being worked on in the laboratory. Yangtzean man lived about 1 million years ago, which was a key moment in the evolution of Homo erectus. A link between predecessor and successor species such as Homo erectus pekinensis. The fossil is an important discovery for the study of Homo erectus evolution, origins, and development in China and the rest of East Asia. But once this Yangtzean man lived on our planet, he probably had a family and children. He fished and went hunting. He was fond of something. Perhaps he could sing, made different sounds, but he could not swim. He knew how to build houses from branches and clay, but he did not know how to cook food. He received emotions from his life as we do now, only lived a lot of years before we appeared. From ancient China, we will go to Rome to study ancient plumbing. Plumbing of ancient Rome. During the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD, not only ancient Pompeii suffered, but also small cities located nearby. In our case, we will talk about a find discovered at the villa of Ariadne in Stabiae, a small decorated lead tank where water was supplied from an external water supply. Two pipes led from it, equipped with taps that could be closed if necessary. One pipe led to a fountain in the impluvium, a small pool pond in the central courtyard of the building around which Roman houses were built, the other inside the building. The villa was named after the famous fresco of Ariadne, found here. The area of the villa is 11,000 square meters, although less than half have been excavated. The faucets are of course bronze, not lead. After all, lead is very soft metal. Here it is clearly visible on a similar one. The tank is lead, the taps are bronze. Cold and hot water flow through them. Also in the villa, there is a hypocaust, a worm floor. Nowadays, not every apartment has hot water, but in ancient Rome it was not like that. And here is the plumbing in the house of the Vetti in Pompeii. Well, how do you like the work of ancient Roman plumbers? As for me, taking into account the past millennia, it is quite high quality. And now you can see under your sink what your plumbing looks like. What about control weights? The city authorities placed similar scales so that any buyer could double-check the weight of the purchased product. There are 9 recesses on the scales and each has a reference exact volume. Merchants in those years found it harder to deceive their customers. Weight measurement took place as follows. The client poured grain into one of the recesses and then took out the cork at the bottom. Grain from below spilled back into the container. After that, the next untrusting buyer could take his measurements. And I will finish today's video with the dragon egg. Let's go to the USA. Dragon egg? Have you seen House of the Dragon yet? Write in the comments if you are a team black or green. Anyways, this is all fiction, but I'll tell you about the story that happened in real life. Whenever artifacts look mysterious, they try to attribute them to alien, mythical ancient civilizations or to cryptids. You have noticed more than once that I myself sometimes believe in the plausibility of such findings. Perhaps this happens for the reason that people want to believe in something mythical, in sedition, in something that has never happened before, or maybe you want to find some kind of artifact that will tell the unknown truth about our past. Let's get closer to the find. This story happened back in 2020 in the USA. A resident of Arkansas was digging a hole for a pool in his area. In the ground, he found a mysterious object that has a flattened ovoid shape. Without hesitation, he immediately sent photos of his find to social networks. Each network user decided to express his theory of the origin of this object. Supporters of the existence of cryptids did not even doubt that in front of them was nothing more than a dragon egg, which flattened a little under the pressure of the earth. We have to admit that this strange thing, which has a length of just over half a meter, really looks like an egg or a petrified monster. Although there were those who claimed that there was nothing mysterious in the find, calling it an ordinary geological formation. And it would seem to find out the truth, what kind of object or whose trace it is easier than ever. Send a team of archaeologists there for a detailed study. But the author of the photo acted unpredictably. He simply deleted all the photos without explaining anything. We can only speculate whether it was really a geological formation or certain organizations began to study this object and the owner of the photographs was asked to remove any mention of a dragon egg. In any case, I recommend that you subscribe to our channel and tell your friends about it. Your likes and comments help us in promotion and recognition. Thanks for your views. Bye everyone!